Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Earthbound Super Series Ancient Cave Tournament. I'm Chaz, aka Stochastic, here along with Stupid Sexy Flanders.
Howdly hodily, neighborinos.
And we are ready for our second match of the night between Quatropus and Eriphram.
Yes, this will be I believe it's our fourth match at this point, yes?
Yep, once this is done, everyone except Ari will have had their first match. Ari with the bye for getting the first seed. Well, kind of the bye. It doesn't actually work out that way, but... And we are underway.
Alright, let's go. Good luck to the runners.
Luck indeed. Once again, Ancient Cave, if you're not familiar with it, all the rooms of Earthbound have been relayed out into a 9-floor dungeon. At the end of each floor, there's a sanctuary boss, or a boss of some sort at a shiny spot, and at the end of the 9th floor is Gygas, and the goal is to get to Gygas and beat him. You don't have to go through all the floors. You can take skips between the floors, and I imagine we'll see our runners do that because it is necessary to get the fastest times, and this is a race. They want to get the fastest time and move on in this tournament. The loser will go to the loser's bracket of this double elimination tournament, but the winner will move on.
While Chaz was talking, it looked like Quadropus is doing some very early item inventory. It seemed like he got rid of his boiled egg and his protractor, which are both essentially useless.
Yes, I do see him do that, and not too many other people bother to go through the menuing for that. It can be... it does decrease your lag a little bit for having one less item in the menu. It'll have you some more space. Unfortunately, he got a butterfly on the stairs, so it's going to very slowly go all the way up to his head, so he's going to take some time loss there. But of course, the menuing itself does take some time loss involved in doing it. So, not sure whether it's good or not, but he's decided that it's what suits his playstyle. And we're into Tucson as our first big hub right out of the gate.
So for those of you who are a little unfamiliar with the randomizer, the hubs, so like towns such as Onit, Tucson, Foreside, there's a lot of different entrances in these various hubs, and so the runners kind of basically have to choose where to go and to see where they end up. It can be a whole bunch of dead ends. It could lead you directly to the next.
Yes, entering one of these hubs. Always scary because there's a lot of doors to check. On the plus side, this is early on floor 1. The enemies are a piece of cake at this point, so they don't have to worry about getting into difficult fights while running all over these floors. Eriphram checking out some shops. The shops have also been randomized, so some of these outdoor Tucson shops might give you some really good things. Of course, you don't have a lot of money at this point in the game.
Other thing to note about hubs too, in terms of the towns, is it really kind of relies on your knowledge of what is a house, what you can enter, what you can't enter. You don't want to waste time knocking on doors, but you need to remember how many houses or how many available areas there are to enter.
Yep, that's very important. 19 doors in Tucson, the most of any cluster in the randomizer. So, and yeah, Eriphram just did a knock on a dialogue house instead of an entry house. We also saw him earlier pick up a fresh egg that will eventually become a chicken, so he can free it and become humane, which is very, very important. I cannot understate the importance.
If you want a valid run that is recognized by Stochastic, you need to release a chicken.
It's true. And into a department store, so another bundle of shops, but this time the room also contains an ATM. Though they still won't have much money in there yet. With just fighting these floor 1 enemies, aren't going to be dropping a whole lot of cash. But the department store, this is the Foreside department store, is another 4-door room, so this could be progress, or this could all be a dead end.
Quatropus picking up a Casey bat, the technically one of the strongest bats in the game, but has a accuracy rate of, I believe, 25%. So
yep,
it comes in use in some situations. Sometimes it's a complete waste of time.
We had an instance in the earlier race today where we had an extremely strong first level boss, and using the Casey bat, we were able to do 100 damage when hits connected, whereas without the Casey bat, Ness would have been doing 1 damage. And that helped one of the runners who picked it up get through it on their first attempt.
Yeah, that was an interesting seed where Manny Mania was our first boss, which is not particularly common.
Both our runners just exploring through Tucson, trying to find their way. Now Quatropus hitting up the shops. Quatropus is running his brand new Deltarune based sprites. Just got those into the rando this weekend, so if you are a Undertale or Deltarune fan, you can now play as those characters.
And Quatropus picking up a protein drink right there. That's one of the skip items for the monkey caves, which may give him an advantage later on down the road.
Oh, was there a Hitman check I didn't even see happen? People are saying dog seed in the chat, so I'm going to assume there was a Hitman check. Ah, here it is.
Yeah,
Watcher just got to it. Yes, this is a carbon dog seed.
Oh boy, those doggos. We might see some interesting strats if we don't find some multi-bottle rockets anytime soon.
Well, I think once you've done a few runs of Carbon Dog, you kind of, you know most of the alternate strats. Certainly your first time through a randomizer, if you're an Earthbound speedrunner or anyone who's just used to dealing with Carbon Dog just by lobbing a multi-bottle rocket at it, or 2 or 3, your first time facing them without the multi-bottle rockets or the sea pendants or any of the equipment you're used to having can be pretty scary, but there's actually quite a lot of effective strategies. He's still a hard fight, but there are lots of effective strategies you can use even without those. And at this point, both of these runners have done enough Ancient Cave runs. They've beaten Carbon Dog and Diamond Dog without multi-bottle rockets before.
You've taken the words right out of my mouth. I believe there were about 3 seeds that we had to play through qualifiers that required us to have doggo strats that we were.
Well, there's a 26% chance that any given seed will be a doggo seed. I can't help it if people roll the bad seeds. I rolled the seed today that did not have a doggo seed in it, so don't blame me. Not a lot of difference between the runners at this point. They're just checking different doors in different orders, but no one has found anything that's going to set them in the lead at this point. Barring that someone... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Eriphram opts out of getting the mock pizza number, which I was a little surprised about.
Yeah, I definitely think you'll want that in Randomizer. 2 different reasons. You have your skip that requires a pizza, so you can get that, and you also have the large pizza strats for Gygas. Sometimes it's necessary if your team's got low HP, just firing off a large pizza on round 1. It's better. I don't see a lot of people do it, but having the option, if it turns out that you're at low HP when you get there, having the option is really important, I feel like.
Yeah, especially if Paula can't get her Psi Shield Sigma off early, then you really want something that heals the entire party that first round so she can get that.
This room is the Iron Pencil room. It's the only room that only has 1 monkey in it instead of 2 monkeys, is always the pencil eraser needed room. So you don't have to walk all the way over there to check. If you only see 1 monkey at a door in a room that's shaped like that, there's only 1 room that's shaped like that. Quattro trying to take down these slugs with bashes instead of a fire. He's down to 5 psychic points on Paula. I assume Paula knows fire by now. Now going for the auto fight.
Fire takes 6 psychic points, so he wouldn't be able to cast it.
You're right. Yeah, this is a rough fight if you cannot fire these guys. Not so much rough in that you might die, which you actually are possible that you might lose a kid, but more rough that
Just long. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's going to take so much time. If you know, this fight is going to take multiple minutes. That since Quattro is not in this fight, he's just going to get further ahead. See Quattro in a similar fight with these slimes. It's actually even a worse fight because they can call for help. Takes fire and away they go.
Looks like Paula's psychic points are not progressing very far or very high in this particular.
Yeah, it could be a bad sign for things to come. We'll have to wait a couple more levels and see if it's just random luck or if she definitely has a low psychic point growth stat. This seed, that can definitely be a problem, depending on how many psychic points you end up with when you're at Gygas, plus for the battles along the way.
If you don't notice on Quattro's speed, his particular sprite set, Chris, the character out front, actually changes in Magicant. There are several sprites that change in Magicant because, as you all know from familiarity with Earthbound, Ness changes into his pajamas, so that's a nice little touch with these sprites.
Yep. I always appreciate when spriters go the extra mile and implement these sprites that are going to be less likely to be seen. That's why I have a little indicator on the webpage where you can see how many of the different sprite sheets have been converted for each sprite. So you can see on the ones where there's 100%, you know, they've done a bike sprite, they've done a Jeff sleeping sprite, they've done a Ness sleeping sprite, they've done a robot sprite, they've done a dead robot sprite, they've done it all.
I personally appreciate when the robot sprites had the faces, like Tessie, for instance.
Yeah, the Tessie sprite's a good one. Quattro also not picking up. Oh, no, he goes back and does pick up the pizza phone number. So he will have.
They did just. Yeah, he did just run into the pizza monkey. So if he decides to do that, you know, he could potentially find a decent skip.
Quattro's found the first shiny spot, or sorry, not Quattro, Eriphram, and it is the lethal asp hieroglyph.
So this should be a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying apparently it's fleshy now, so I'm not sure how hieroglyph is fleshy, but it's actually pretty terrifying to consider.
This should be a really easy battle.
When you have enough psychic points for freeze at this point in the game, pretty much anything goes down to it.
And Eriphram is moving on to floor 2, just got to get through some levels, which is pretty good considering that is a scripted battle, so a lot more experience is gained through a lot of the game's scripted battles, like with hieroglyphics. The robots in Fourside in Monotoli Tower are another example, so if you find those in early floors, sometimes they can give you a bunch of levels that you could really use later.
So Eriphram's a little bit ahead, but not that far really, once Quattro finds... And there he goes, he's found the room where he'll be taking down the hieroglyph. And they'll be right back to pretty even. We found a multi-bottle rocket shop, of course.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Too early to afford it. But they know it exists now. If in a moment of desperation, they may have to come back here to load up on them.
It would be very interesting to see a strat involving the Death Warp and to go back to a particular store in order to buy something like that.
That'd be pretty risky to leave your save all the way back on floor 2 when you're getting up there in floors not knowing if it's going to be something you need or not. I'm not sure I would ever advise that.
It sounds like something I would try.
So now we're pretty close to even. Just making our way through early floor 2.
I believe one of the things that starts to show up on floor 2 is the Franklin badge, yes?
The Franklin badge starts getting likely, has any likelihood of showing up on floor 2. The way the item randomization works is once the items have been chosen, as far as which of the items out of the item pool, the equipment out of the equipment pool is going to be put into the cave, and then which of the consumable items are going to be put in, then their positions are slightly shuffled, and that shuffle uses a normal distribution. So there's no... It is theoretically possible for a star pendant to show up all the way down on floor 1. Anything could be anywhere. The odds of that happening are incredibly remote. Things generally stay around the same area, give or take a floor or 2, in extreme cases 3 or 4. There's just no hard cap on anything. It's just extreme unlikeliness. But floor 2 is, yes, where the Franklin badge starts becoming a significant enough percent likely that most players will start checking badges. And in fact, there we go. Franklin badge for Eriphram and Quattro. They both picked up at just about the same time.
Yeah, I think for me, as I've only seen pendants as early as maybe I saw one on floor 5 once in any of my playthroughs, but most of the time they're on 6 and above. So the item progression is designed very well, and it does really follow.
Suporma found by both runners, and instead of using it, they throw it away, which is very rude.
And here we go at the second boss.
Encountering it just 10 seconds apart from each other.
This is the Puke Captain, as opposed to Master Barf.
Well, you know, you gotta rank up. You don't just become a master your first day on the job.
Maybe we'll see a Puke Lieutenant, a Puke Sergeant.
Dream big, my friends. And there is a pizza skip, so that is something that Eriphram will not be able to access, but Quattro could if he orders a pizza.
But I believe this is the pizza skip that was available earlier, so that would only lead him back to floor 1.
Oh, they already saw the front of that, so they know that leads to floor 1.
I think so. I always forget if there's 1 or 2 pizzas in the pizza skips in the.
Oh, I don't remember that either. I think it's 1. Your mom here does give you a free hotel. It's not a free full heal, so if kids are dead, they will not bring you back. And if Ness is dead, she will not give you the heal.
Mostly because she's mad that you let her son die.
Well, that's pretty reasonable. So we are still about 10 seconds apart, but now Quattro is the one that is 10 seconds in the lead. But it is neck and neck. Eriphram taking this fight will put him a little bit further back. But he'll get a little XP to go along for it.
Yeah, Eriphram getting a little bit unlucky that he's not encountering enemies that flee from him because of his level.
The reason, by the way, those Happiest sprites are brown is that the palette they use is a special palette, special sprite palette that picks up its colors from the surrounding map. So any sprite assigned to that palette, you'll see its colors change depending on what map it is. That's how the blue cow in Happy Village changes its color when you decarpenterify the town. It changes the town's palette, and since the cow uses that special palette, the cow's color's changed as well. And that's also why if you encounter a cow in the place of a mole, in the third strongest mole hill, then the cow will be brown.
I never knew that. While you were talking about that, Both Runners actually picked up a rabbit's foot accessory, so this is going to be great for increasing the speed of one of the characters, in particular for Jeff, as Jeff's bottle rocket damage is linked directly to his speed. So if these guys do end up picking big or multi-bottle rockets, the rabbit's foot will help Jeff do as much damage as possible.
Yep, definitely important. Depending on your randomization and what speed Pokey gets, the Rabbit's Foot can make multi-bottle rockets effective in the Gygus fight as well as just increasing their general effectiveness on all fights throughout the seed.
Yeah, I never use the multi-bottle rockets if I don't on Pokey if I don't have Crystal Charm or Rabbit.
Yeah, you'll find they will often miss all 20 if you don't. Eriphram finds Frank's backyard. You can fight Frank and then dip out and back in to get the normal free hotel that Frank provides in vanilla, but he decides he doesn't need it.
Quattro and Summers right now, going through another hub, as it were. It looks like Eriphram is kind of backtracking a little bit, or maybe he never explored this particular.
Well, this was the correct entrance. There is the boss for floor 3.
There we go. And this is a hieroglyph. Hieroglyph. I don't know why I said it that way. Sorry. Hieroglyph. You can put this hieroglyph to sleep, which Eriphram is choosing to do, which allows you to really kill it very easily and
And there is floor 3 boss down.
So Eriphram is picking up a slight lead right now, ahead of Quatropus. So if Quatropus manages to either find a skip or, gets himself out of the Summer's rabbit hole, then, he'll be right back on.
Right, this is a small lead, but we can have big changes. And here's a possible skip. There's the ruler. That's one of the skips you can take right away since Jeff starts with the ruler. So Quattro is on to Central Onnet, and that is on some floor we do not know.
But Quattro did take a positive skip. He did go up. It looks to be, if I had to make a guess, I would say it looks to be either late floor 5, maybe early floor 6.
Yeah, the enemies aren't too terribly tough. He was on floor 3, so it could have either been a skip down to 1 or a skip up to 5, 6, 7, or 8. Because the range is 2 to 5 floors away. Eriphram finding a skip room that needs a picnic lunch or a skip sandwich, of which he has neither. So it's stuck on floor 4 for him. He's debating this hyper beam for Jeff. Decides against it. Quattro picking up quite a few levels off of this first fight on the floor that he skipped to.
Yeah, that fight went very well. Those are sewer rats, which are one of the worst enemies to encounter in Ancient Kingdom. They will just smash you to pieces, especially if you are under-equipped. And right after taking a skip, that's a very difficult.
Eriphram finds the full heal for floor 4. Every floor has one guaranteed full free heal. 7 of them are the sanctuaries that you're used to seeing. Another is the Brick Road head room from Dungeon Man. If you talk to his head, you get a free full heal. And the other is the Princess Palace in Dalam, where you talk to the guy on the throne and get a free full heal that way. And I occasionally get the question, what happens if you find all 8 of the sanctuaries? Do you go to Magicant? And the answer is you cannot find all 8 of the sanctuaries because you cannot find Lumine Hole in the randomizer. Since it has only a one-way hole in and a one-way hole out, and one-way doors are disabled, you cannot access Lumine Hall, so you can never get all 8 sanctuaries.
I have to admit, I always wondered that myself. So one of the potential pitfalls of skipping, if we're looking at Quatropus' side, is that we don't necessarily know once we skip which way is forward and which way is backwards. There are only really 2 ways to tell. One is if you happen to encounter a boss room. If you enter from the wrong way, you'll face behind the boss, which means that you're going backwards. If the only other way to kind of get an idea if you're progressing in a floor is to see how the enemies are upscaling in terms of difficulty.
And that can be tough to do because there is a slight bit of randomness to it, so you can't just take one instance. You kind of have to get a general feel for it. Sort of Kings have that gift for Quatropus, and he also picked up a rain pendant earlier from the trash can outside the Burger Shack. Also, Eriphram is now taking a skip, and I believe I saw the car painter room, which I also saw Quatropus do, so I believe they've skipped to the same floor, whatever floor this is, if I'm correct about all of that. But they are both definitely no longer on floors 3 and 4. That is for sure.
Yeah, Eriphram looks like he might be on 5. I'm not sure. I didn't catch Eriphram take it, so I'll have to take
Well, he was on 4, so he can't be on 5.
Oh, you're right. Yes, you're right.
Has to be, and I don't think it's 1 or 2, judging from these enemies, so it has to be 6 or higher. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe I saw some of the same rooms, so I believe they're on the same floor. Coming into Foresight, if he finds the Hitman can tell him what floor this is. Hitman is in the park right behind the hotel in Foresight. That was a weird green swirl, but okay.
Welcome to Earthbound. Because if Gygas can rip through the time-space continuum, then why can't our enemies or our player characters?
Eriphram not going for the Hitman just yet. He's going to take the scripted battle here. While Quattro enters Belch's base, a large and annoying room with very spread out doors.
So one thing about the randomizer is that, and you can please correct me if I'm wrong, Chaz. I believe the spawn plates are also randomized in terms of where they're placed on maps. That's correct.
Yep, that is correct. You can find spawn plates in any room, even rooms that you previously thought safe.
So if you remember from your childhood any particularly spawny areas of Earthbound, now they may be completely empty, and those that you perceive as safe are no longer safe whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Quattro using the exit mouse to mark a location. The exit mouse has a new feature in Randomizer. You can mark a location where you're standing right now, and then later on you can use the exit mouse to go back to the location that you previously marked. It's good for if you know you're going to be heading down a really long path and you think it might be a dead end, you can mark your exit mouse, and then if you find out it is a dead end, you can just use your exit mouse so you don't have to walk all the way back. there's another skip. Skip requires the tiny ruby with which Pooh starts with, and Quattro's going to go ahead and take it. So not even knowing what floor he was on, he's going to take a skip. He sees a fobby, and he decides, I guess that was enough for him to decide that that was not the right way to go.
A fobby would indicate, I would think, that it was floor 8, like 6 to 8.
Yeah, that was a fobby and a pink cloud shiny type enemy. I'm not sure that wasn't further forward, but he seemed pretty confident. He made his decision fast. Now into the hub of Threed, also a large hub.
Winters can also be tough to come out of and realize that you have to go all the way south to the other tents. So maybe he decided that he wanted to go back and see if there's a safer route.
It's possible. Making quick decisions like that on what skips are forward, what skips are backward, is one of the abilities that you're going to have that's really going to set you apart and make large time differences that can win or lose a race. So we'll have to see if his decision ends up affecting this race. It could really help or hurt. And I guess we won't, even at the end of it, we won't know for sure if whether that decision and in that particular instance was what won or lost the race. But just as an example of the sort of things that you should be thinking about and getting in the habit of one of the things that you want to practice for randomizer that can really make a difference as far as multiple minutes. You know, there's things like menuing and dropping your protractor early to save a couple seconds here or there, but those decisions, the sort of decisions that can, you know, change by tens of minutes how long your run goes, are the ones that are really going to determine your race.
What we see here with Quatropus is he's talking to one of the arms dealers in the randomizer to, looks like, to buy some sort of explosive item or better weapon for Jeff, potentially. Or he's just selling things.
Yeah, Quattro values keeping his inventory clear, that is for sure.
Oh, I think he's selling stuff so he can buy secret herbs.
That's pretty reasonable. Eriphram sends a Scaraba, checking with these vendors. Bottles of DX water. 40 PP for Pooh. It's a big deal.
Yes, you can turn Pooh into your always healer with those bottles of DX water, because it's a great way for just to restore your people.
Oh yeah, a couple of bottles of DX water for Pooh can absolutely make the difference between winning and losing a Gygas fight, really. So if you find them, no matter how early, I would always pick up a couple if you have the cash for it. Eriphram looks like he's going down to check on this hint guy, while also, and he is on the fourth floor. Really?
I don't think he took. I don't think he took that skip. He might have.
Did he not take that skip?
Yeah, that's what makes sense to me, because zombies, I've never seen zombies above floor 5, and so if he was on floor, it would make sense.
Well, another multi-bottle rocket vendor.
Along with the Horns of Life are here too.
But he's going to pick up a multi-bottle rocket. So Eriphram is on floor 4, and Quatropus is somewhere.
This is the most ridiculous item list I've ever seen. There's bottles of DX water, secret herbs, Horns of Life, and multi-bottle rockets. Mark your mouse there, dude. What are you doing? Oh, and he found the Franklin badge cap.
Yep, this shack, if you are lucky enough to find this in the maze, you can talk to the Paula behind the gates and get a Franklin badge.
So now he has 2 Franklin badges. So 2 of those characters in the final Gygas fight are going to be protected from thunder.
And not even just in the final Gygas fight. I believe we saw Thunder and Storm is in this boss list, correct? If I remember right.
It's either them or Electro Spectre. I'm not sure.
And regardless, there's a number of strong enemies that use thunder attacks, and having half of your party invulnerable to them, and in fact bouncing the attacks back, can be pretty huge.
Eriphram finding the Tucson department store. So the big difference between Fourside and Tucson's department stores that you can tell if you're running this game is Fourside's department store has little palm trees at the very base floor. So if you see those, you're in Fourside's department store, which means you have access to more stores than you would in Tucson. And there are some doorways in Fourside's department that lead to other places.
This skip wants a wet towel. Eriphram does not have a wet towel, so he'll keep trudging through floor 4. That skip needs $7,500.
And another skip over on Quatropus's side. This is the Fourside Topola Theater skip.
A skip that needs $30 is a lot easier to do than a skip that needs $7,500. And we see fire enemies, so we are somewhere deep. But it is slow trudging through that the Lost Underworld room. So Quattro is going to look around at other doors first, and hope that's not the way he has to go. North Onnet, this is actually a separate cluster from Central Onnet. There's only 3 doors here. Ness's house, Pokey's house, and Lark Zedred's house. So it is on a different floor from Central Onnet.
Eriphram coming across the 4th Sanctuary boss, I think it's 4, with the Clumsy Robot.
Yep, a recent addition to the boss lists. The original version of the randomizer, the Clumsy Robot had a final action that broke the game, so he was removed. But I was able to remove that final action from him and make him able to be added to the boss pool.
One of the things playing this randomizer has taught me is that the Clumsy Robot's claim that it has restored all of its HP with a bologna sandwich is actually false. I never knew that as a child.
Just a lie. Game just straight up lies to you.
Robots don't eat bologna sandwiches.
Quattro taking out a couple of these high-level fire enemies. That's given him a lot of levels, and a star pendant.
Oh, I think we're on floor 8 or 9 with those 2 items right there.
Oh, for sure. So, a star pendant and a Franklin badge. Paula is home free if she can survive into phase 2 of Gygus.
So for Quatropus, it's just a matter now of finding Gygus and hopefully being able to successfully get through phases 1 and even 2, as you still have to do enough damage to get Paula into the 3rd and final phase of Gygus, where she can just pray her cares away.
Yeah, I don't think he's ready for phase 1 yet, but people have taken phase 1 before I've thought they were ready by a long shot, so we shall see.
Oh yeah, judging by he just did a full heal, her stats are not particularly great for taking on phase 1 and 2 of Gygus.
Right, Paula could easily die to a Rockin' Alpha. Quattro hits the floor 5 full heal. Eriphram. I keep doing that. Both of the runners are not named Quattro. I'll remember one of these days.
If I had to make a guess, I would say Quattro is very early on. He's either late floor 8 or early floor 9. That would be my bet.
Oh, he doesn't even have Shield Sigma yet, so yeah, we are definitely not ready.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna need to grind up a little bit before he takes some guy.
Doing some inventory management.
And he runs into a defense shower, effectively a dead end, so he's going to have to backtrack all the way back to, I believe it was Ness's house, in order to figure his way around this particular.
I'm sure he's thinking, oh man, do I really have to go through Lost Underworld?
I know that feel.
So it remains to be seen if Eriphram is going to find any skips he can take, or if he's going to have to no-skip his way all the way through every boss. He's on floor 5, and he's defeated every boss so far.
And for having to defeat every boss so far, he is making pretty good time.
Now, that was a potential skip, leaving out the back of the theater, but I believe we had seen the front of that earlier. So that would have been a backward skip. Eriphram, right here, this is the guy you need to talk to get this one present all by itself. No one ever gets this present. I think he is the first person I've seen get this present in Randomizer. There's one present by itself, and that's the guy you have to talk to get that one present. There's also the guy outside the hospital sends you on a loop around to get 3 different presents. Most people know about that by now. But that guy over there by the cafe takes you to the one present, and that's vanilla. I didn't change that. That guy's always been there.
It's one of those things where, I don't know, for me, Moonside is always a headache, so I try to get out of it as quickly as possible.
Fair enough, but there are 5 items here.
Oh, I meant in vanilla, not in the Ancient Cave run.
Oh yeah, well I couldn't tell you what's worth there. Crystal Charm for Eriphram, that'll help out. Or no, we've already seen the rabbit's foot, haven't we?
We have, but he can always slap that on another character. He can always manipulate strats so that way Ness always goes before Paula, for instance, so Ness can always heal her if there's a bad situation.
Those are some fast fire enemies in the Lost Underworld. You have no chance of dodging those guys if they want to come for you. Of course, Lost Underworld also has a number of presents that no one ever goes to get, and that is because this area takes forever.
Yeah, I think you have to be in a really desperate spot to consider grabbing some items. Like if you didn't have many pendants, if you felt underprepared for Gygus, because it does take a long time to kind of sludge your way through Lost Underworld, as you can see.
Right, and either it's an early floor, in which case it's not going to be worth it, or it's a late floor and you have late floor enemies all over the place. I guess I was incorrect about that, seeing that front of the Tucson Theater before, because Quattro just went through it. So that could have been a skip that Eriphram could have taken, but he chose not to. Because he approached it from the direction where you don't need any items. If you approach the guy from the back, he'll just let you out. But
I think you may have been confusing your randomizers today.
yeah. So the Brick Road Dungeon will give a few items as we get through these scripted fights that are a piece of cake at our current levels.
Though there still could be some spawn plates here and there that have the floor's correct level as.
That's true.
And there you go in the corner down there.
And of course, those fire enemies can glitch right through the walls, so...
Eriphram picking up another crystal charm and finding the 5th sanctuary boss. So let's see who this is, and it's Shrew. Shroom's not too much of a bad boss to run into. It's pretty easy. But...
Quattro taking the photo.
Oh no!
Oh, he's doing this intentionally to show off the photo sprite for Chris that he made. There we go. Nice little pose.
That was great. As I was saying with Shroom, the only thing you really have to worry about with Shroom is Shroom mushroomizing one of your characters and keeping your fingers crossed it's not Ness, so that doesn't confuse Ness and make your D-pad basically ineffective when you get out of this.
That's a green swirl? Alright, game. You say so. They certainly look like they're facing each other to me, but...
The dinosaur was just surprised somebody went up to it.
So Eriphram is on floor 6, clearing every floor. Quattro has taken a skip and is somewhere. Either 8 or 9, we believe.
I guess really, if I'm Quatropus, I need a couple levels, really, to fight Gygas. And then maybe I want at least an Earth Pendant to throw onto Ness, so that way someone can heal Paula in case one of the Gygas phases doesn't go very...
Right, he has a rain pendant, but that's... If you're going to have a weak pendant to go along, well, here we go. We're going to see what he thinks. Rain pendant on Ness. Star and... he's going to mark this location with his exit mouse. He's going to take this caterpillar, try and get some extra experience. Gets the instant win, which is fortunate. Sometimes those caterpillars, you don't get the instant win on them. And they can be dangerous because they cast fire. The instant win for some extra levels. Still no Shield Sigma for Paula, so he's not going to try it. I imagine, now that he's seen caterpillars spawn here, he will probably try and farm them. Or maybe not.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if I were him, I would probably try to farm, but I guess he's choosing to go this route and probably try and find another pendant.
Yeah, but it's very likely he feels that even if he does farm, he needs more equipment to deal with this battle, so rather than spending time farming, he's just going to go try and find an equipment, find a pendant of some sort, and gain levels along the way that way.
And I think you noted earlier, he still does not know Size Shield Sigma, which is crucial to getting through that first phase of...
Right, that's why you absolutely have to be farming. It's just a matter of whether you farm that caterpillar, or whether you go back and try and find more equipment and farm along the way. And it looks like he's decided that it would be worthwhile to travel, or maybe he decides he wants to farm this dragon. I didn't check the experience number. The caterpillar does not always have a lot of experience. So this dragon, it's potential that it may have more experience than the caterpillar.
I think the caterpillar gave him about 29,000.
Granted, it's going to take more time and psychic points. That looked like 10,000 to me, didn't it?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. 10,000 for this, and then the caterpillar, I think, was about 29, if I remember, maybe.
Well, if you're going to grind, then I think you should be grinding the caterpillar.
Maybe he just likes the music here. I know I do.
Eriphram sees the eraser skip. But he has it at the free shop. Oh, I completely missed. I assume he checked the free shop. Did anyone in the comments see if there was anything good in the free shop?
Yeah, I missed that too. I was paying attention to him finding Gygus.
Yeah, I was all excited about Night Pendant for Eriphram. If you're going to have a weak pendant, that's the one you want to have, in my opinion.
Absolutely, you avoid those instant flash deaths that Gygus likes to throw at you every now and then. Even if you have an Earth Pendant, you can still get instant flash to death. That's happened to me once or twice in some of my Ancient Cave runs. Not pleasant experience.
Nothing of value in the free shop, apparently. Floor 6 full heal plus an equipment. So, will Quatropus go find gifts on the far side? No, he's not. Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure what his plan is. If his plan is not farm the caterpillar, and if his plan is not look for all gifts on floor 9, I'm honestly not sure what his plan is. Because those would be the two, the option A and the option B that I could see. Or maybe he just wanted to heal, and he was just going back to try and find a full heal before taking on Gygus. That's possible. Springs, one spring heals your status effects, and the other spring will heal your psychic points and hit points.
There is also a shop in the Lost Underworld, so he could always just check in there and see if there's anything worth his time. But he's not going to find anything worthy like a star pendant or a sea pendant.
No, there could be super bombs, but it's going to be pretty unlikely. Most of your super bombs will be with the explosive vendors. Have the most likelihood to find them. Any other vendor, you have a pretty low likelihood of finding super bombs. But maybe he just wanted the recovery, and now he'll go back to grind on caterpillars or look for gift boxes. He's certainly heading back, whatever he's decided.
Yeah, I think he just went back there for a heal.
Alright, fair enough. Does seem to be the first heal along the path. So we're heading forward, so I think he thinks that his equipment is going to be sufficient as soon as he gets some more levels so that Paula can have Shield Sigma. Or maybe he's going to try it without Shield Sigma. I wouldn't advise that, but I have seen people do it.
I don't even think I can bring myself to do that without Shield Sigma.
Looks like he's decided he wants to try and grind these dinos. I'd really be doing the caterpillars, but he's decided the dinos are the way to go. Eriphram went and checked one of the presents in the Magicant loop. That little loop around at the top part of Magicant that usually leads to the Sea of Eden. The transporter in the center is turned off because it is one-way warp. But there are a number of gifts up there, and one of them is really quick to get to. So sometimes people will go check all the gifts in there, sometimes people will only check the one quick gift, and that's what he decided to do. There's the back side of the pencil eraser skip.
Yep, I think Eriphram has entered. I think this is the longest room in the sewer.
Yep, sure is. And he marks the exit mouse near the beginning of it in case this all turns out to be a dead end.
But he has been progressing normally. He hasn't taken any skips, so I don't necessarily know if he has to worry about going backwards too much or running into... But he could always run into dead end.
Well, Quatropus is clearly in the lead, as he has found Gygus. He has some equipment for it, just right outside Gygus's door. But this method of grinding on this dinosaur is not fast, so depending on how this goes, Eriphram has time to catch up. And of course, taking a death in the Gygus fight, he's not going, at the end of this, no matter how much Quattro grinds, he's not going to be at a high level, and he's not going to have a whole lot of equipment. So taking a death is not out of the question. It's certainly a possibility. So Eriphram still has plenty of chances to catch up if this is indeed Quattro's plan, as it seems like it is.
And Eriphram runs into the Thoughtless Puke as opposed to the Captain Puke from earlier.
Once you get big, you get thoughtless, I guess. Is the lesson there? I'm not sure. Defeating this will give Pooh the Starstorm Alpha ability, so that will be a nice bonus. Could come in handy in Gygas Phase 2, or in other fights along the way.
Also useful for clearing large amounts of foppies that you are likely to run into on about floor 8.
Yep, that's true. So he is on floor 7, doing the full clear. This is his last chance for a forward skip. We'll see if he is doing the full clear or not. Auto fight spent healing alpha on Jeff. Not sure if he intended to do that or not. Alright, Quatro thinks he has leveled it up. I didn't see if we got Sigma or not. I would assume so, if we're going for it.
I also did not see that, so if anybody in chat can tell us whether or not Sigma was acquired, let me know. Let us.
Paul is still at a very dangerously low HP amount. But we shall see how this attempt goes.
And Jonte saying that Quatropus does indeed have size Sigma, so we should be good.
This will be a difficult Gygas fight, but if he can pull it off, obviously he'll take down the win here. If he is not able to, then it will give Eriphram a giant opportunity to catch up. Big bottle rocket misses all 5. Even the rabbit's foot isn't a guarantee that's going to do anything.
So Quatropus uses Life Up Beta on Paula first turn. That's a typical strategy we use in case Paula does take mortal damage against any of the Psy-Rockins.
Yeah, so with Paula having such low HP, in this particular seed, definitely a good idea. The first turn paralyzed on Pokey worked, so that is a huge advantage. The likelihood of this battle going well increases dramatically there.
Yeah, the likelihood right now is that this is just a matter of time for Phase 1, to be completed.
It's being pretty aggressive with Freeze. Oh, Quattro runs into the or Eriphram runs into the show.
Oh no.
That'll take some time. And he does a little dance. Sorry, I was saying Quatropus is being pretty aggressive with his using Freeze Gamma instead of Freeze Beta with Paula. Uses a lot more Psychic points. I hope he doesn't get into the situation where he doesn't have enough Psychic points to pull off the Shield Sigma.
Oh, he had that magic truffle back up, so I forgot
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
picked that up a while. He picked that up a
That makes more sense then. Yeah, this has been a very smooth Phase 1 so far, and Phase 1 is done.
There we go.
So, Phase 2, Paula has a Star Pendant and a Franklin Badge, so in theory she's safe. It's just a question of how long this Phase 2 will be. This is what we saw in the first match, actually, where the player who was in the lead had a very long Phase 2 because Paula was invulnerable, but he did not have enough damage output going on. Now, whew, that first
There we go.
flash. Wow.
Welcome to Gygas, ladies and gentlemen. He is
We're
not
not
playing
playing
around
around.
today.
So yeah, Quattro is going to be in a very similar situation as we saw in the first, that very shortly, Paul is going to be out of Psychic points, and the damage dealing capability that he has is going to be pretty limited until Paula can pray and get the prayer that resurrects all of his teammates. Now, in this case, he still does have Ness can pull off Rock and Betas. It seems like he's deciding not to do that.
Yeah, I think the right strategy would be to go Rock and Beta and start praying away with Paul.
Yes, Ness has been paralyzed, but can still use psychic attacks. Doesn't really need to save the psychic points for heals for phase 3 because, again, Paula is basically invulnerable. So in theory, barring some rather extreme circumstances, Quattro is extremely unlikely to lose phase 2. It's just a matter of how long this is going to take, and it could take a very, very long time. Long enough that it's not impossible that if Eriphram found a really quick skip to floor 9, picked up a C pendant or a star pendant of his own, he could be in this. Although we did.
Yeah, we just got revived kids, so I don't really see. And I think Pooh has some secret herbs, so in theory he could have Pooh heal Ness, and then it would make a lot quicker work of it. And they're all dead again, so what do I know?
Oh, Gygus, buddy. We're just not playing around today. And Paul's not playing around either. The team is back. Brain shock. 100% vulnerable. Gygus faces 2 and 3. And they'll send half of his battles at himself. Oh, now this is the thing that can be dangerous, and this might be why he didn't use Rock and Gamma, or Rock and Beta rather. Gygus can confuse the other kids and turn their attacks back on themselves. So you saw that freeze got redirected to Paula. Fortunately, Paula's got the star pendant, so it didn't do a lot of damage. If it was Ness in that circumstance using the Rock and Beta and that got redirected back, that could take out Paula, and that could take this, in theory, unlosable game to a loss. So that might be the reason why he did not do the Rock and Betas, which is pretty valid.
Over on Eriphram's side, we're seeing that he's found On It, which is another big hub. I want to say there's something between like 12 and 15 doors in this particular area of
Central On It is actually 18. It's the second most compared to Tucson.
Tucson is number 1 and On It is number 2. So the irony, it burned.
And that looks like it's going to be enough to get on to phase 3. Now, I say Paul is invulnerable. She does take some damage from all of the freezes that get dealt out. And of course, the freezes can also waste a turn. It's not impossible that Gygus could do enough damage even through the star pendant. That if no one else has any healing items to help out Paula, it's not impossible that she could die here. So this is not a sure thing.
Yeah, it could happen. It's 8 to 10 chip damage. If she solidifies in the wrong moments, that's all it takes.
I don't know if she has any healing items on her because the other 2 kids all the other kids are now gone. If she has no healing items, 72 could be chipped away.
Missed turn, so that's one of the potentials of Gygus too. I would know that very well.
Right. The odds are not high that we're going to die from 72 at this point, 3 prayers in. But it's not impossible.
What is the percentage of getting a completely blank turn from Gygus? I think he got it. No, he didn't get it.
I honestly don't know off the top of my head. A more normal Earthbound speedrunner could tell you, I'm sure, but I am not an Earthbound speedrunner. Down to 65.
Oh, Eriphram realizing he took a skip backwards and ended up back on the 3rd floor. He's in Summers.
I think
Did
he
he
saw
die?
I don't believe he died. I think he saw that it was an hour in. He was only on floor 7, and he realized he needed to try and make a move and skip up to 9.
Oh, okay, I see where he took a skip. Sorry, I thought he might have died and just didn't save for a while, which would have been horrifying.
.57, but we are getting close to the end. I guess would have to be awful mean to do us in from here. 2 prayers left.
Yeah, this would have to be the most ridiculous case of bad luck. It would have to be complete solidifies for the next 3.
Alright, I think we're good. Starting from 73, I believe was what we started from. It's not a guarantee, but it looks like this time it was going to be good enough for Quatropus. As he cues in the final prayer. And there we go.
Quatropus ending with a 105.07 will come in first tonight in our match. Congratulations to Quatropus. Good Gygas fight.
Congratulations indeed. Yep, he leveled up just enough to where he had just enough experience to get that Shield Sigma and went for it. Played the first phase very well and got through the second and third with the quality equipment on Paula and is our winner tonight.
Yeah, the only thing left to do on Quatropus decided to make sure the run was a valid and humane one.
So Quatropus will move on to fight you actually in the next round.
Is that? Yes, that is correct. He will be moving on and he will be facing me in the next round, round 3. Whereas Eriphram will be moving on to face Jonte in the next losers bracket.
Yep, it's a double elimination, so neither of our players are out yet. Thomas, based on how Eriphram did today, he might be willing to do a full clear battle with you, a no skip battle.
Again, Chaz taking the words directly out of my mouth.
So Quattro's still doing his run, or sorry, Eriphram. It's because Eriphram doesn't have his name up on the stream, and Quattro does. So I look at the stream, I only see one name. Eriphram's still finishing out his run here, it looks like. Nice photo, nice photo.
Excellent photo, yes. Under 200 door transitions, that's pretty good. Maybe that's why he didn't want to fight those caterpillars.
Well, I just asked him about that, and he said he didn't think about it, so. There's so many things to think about, it's easy to forget something. 0 chickens freed, so this was not a humane run, but 2 L button, no problems here, so it is valid. Hey, Quattro.
Hey, Quat.
Hello.
Hey, Quattro.
Hey, Quat.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Hey.
I think you need to mute your audio. It's coming back over.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry. I knew exactly what happened. Hold on. Is that better?
Okay, yeah, I think we're good. So, 105.07, good time.
Yeah, it's about it's 2 minutes behind my best. It would have been a lot quicker had I gotten an earlier shield.
Right, yeah. So we saw at the end where you ended up having to grind a bit because you found Kygas before you found Shield.
Yeah.
Our thought in the chat, which I know I just mentioned to you, was when you first poked your head into Gygas, you saw that caterpillar and was able to green swirl it and insta kill it. And we were wondering why you were grinding on the dinosaurs instead of that caterpillar.
Because I didn't think about it.
Which, totally valid. There's a lot to think about in randomizer.
Absolutely can't blame you for not thinking about that as a strategy for grinding in the moment. Because when do we ever see that caterpillar in these runs?
I also was like hoping, like I wasn't too far off from 35, so I was hoping that like at some point between, because I think Paula was still around like 31 or 32, that she would get Shield Sigma like in maybe a level, but it ended up being like 5 levels. Like she didn't get it until 37.
That is too. I think in vanilla she learned Sigma at around 28 or 29 or something like that. So to have to wait to 35 is quite the.
But
Yeah,
had I gotten it sooner, that would definitely have been like sub.
yeah.
I just
The other
got
thing,
lucky. I got lucky with the Franklin badge was pretty much a given. It was just right there out in the open. Um,
Mhm.
my skips were better later because I was able to hit that early hint man, and it was a carbon dog seed. So
Yep.
dope. Um, so I was happy enough once I got on my first skip. Once I encountered an enemy, and that's why I took that. I took that very first like 2 mice in the trash can.
Mhm.
Because that's either gonna be really low level, like maybe like 3 or 4, or that's gonna be the late game ones. And sure enough, when the trash can hit a character for like 220, I was like, okay, I'm on like floor 7 or 8. Um, I found another skip, decided not to take it. So I was like, maybe I should hold off. Eventually came to the skip where it took me to floor 9 because right when I got onto the floor, I found fires and they immediately aggroed me. So I was like, okay, I know exactly I'm on floor 9. They are not having me right now. They are aiming to kill, so I know that I'm under leveled for these enemies right now. Because, at some point when you get a high level, those guys kind of just start running away from you. Um, when they aggro, you're under level. It's most likely going to be like I always call him like the salt shaker man. I don't really know his name. I never learned.
The Major Psychic Psycho, or
Yeah.
Salt shaker.
So normally like what I wanted to do coming off onto the floor was make sure that I can get in a fight with just one, and hopefully it's just a normal fire pot.
right? Yeah, because he does have a unusually low defense.
Yeah, that's a good strat.
Gyga's fight didn't go as well as I wanted to.
I looked pretty smooth from where we were sitting.
It would have been quicker had like the first turn and second phase. It wasn't like, oh, Jeff and Pooh are now.
Yeah, you ran into some pretty bad luck with the flash.
And I was gonna try a large pizza, but once I read 3 minutes, I was like, I don't have time for that.
Well, so there is an interesting little factoid. If you save after you order a pizza and you're in an area that the pizza man can get to, you basically instantly get the pizza.
Oh, really? I did not.
Yeah, when you reload save, he'll show up within just a few seconds. Which I recommend you always do in Ancient Cave if you can, because there's a lot of rooms in which you end up in them. If your 3 minutes expires while you're in one of those rooms, the pizza man won't show up.
Right.
Yeah, he can actually show up in certain stores too. I was in Summers once and I was calling him and he was coming right into the store. I was very surprised.
So Quattro has taken a skip and is on floor 9. I know he poked his head into the Lost Underworld and doesn't want to head that way. He picks up the star pendant there, the same star pendant you picked up, finds the full heal. He is going to eventually discover he is going to have to go through the Lost Underworld. Everyone, as soon as they see it, they try and find another way first, but not this time.
Especially late game, because that if you get that like right before Gygas, you can get some bad spawn.
Right, we saw fire enemies for you.
Yeah, I've seen it once to where it's nothing but octahedrons, and I'm just like, every enemy in this room right now is scary to deal with.
And
so
you
I
have
need
no
to like
chance to dodge them.
exactly.
Yeah, some of
But
the worst floors to run into just before Gygus are the Lost Underworld. I would say the giant step cave is actually pretty bad as well. Trying to think, any Starman head or Stonehenge maze is bad as well. Those are a lot of rough enemy spawn.
And yeah, Eriphram now fighting those same lava piles that you fought immediately after the skip. He did end up taking, I believe, the same skip that you did was the ruby skip.
right. Well,
So
I think what it was is that it was the ruby skip to get to. I think it was the ruby skip to get to 8, and then it was the show ticket skip to get to 9.
I think it was the other way around. I think the show ticket skip got you to 7, and then
Right.
the ruby skip got you to 9, because Eriphram actually hasn't successfully taken a skip all the way up to floor 7, and he
Okay.
just took one off of 7 and is now at 9. So I
Okay,
believe
then
that's
yeah,
the way that worked
because
out.
I know I did take the show ticket skip.
Yeah, he did not find any successful skips all the way. I say he beat every boss all the way until floor 7, and then just now at floor 7 has finally found a successful skip forward. And he's now
I
on floor 9.
I was able to find a few. I just never had the items for it. Like I had the one on first floor. It took me. I had 2 pizza skips, and then there was a wet towel, and
I
I
think you
don't
took a
know.
ruler skip. I think is what you ended up taking.
I did take the rulers. I know I took. I wonder if I actually did take the show ticket skip, or if that was the one I backed out of.
No, you took the show ticket one because he had found. I remember this because he had found the Onnit house from the backside, and we were like, "That's an expensive one." And then you found the show ticket. We're like, "Oh, okay, that one's a little more easily taken than the Onnit house skip."
The ruler one, I think was the one I backed out of because I didn't want to. I think that was because I remember opening up a skip and then walking in and seeing an enemy. I was like, hold on, let me see exactly what I'm or where I'm at. And then eventually I came across the
Yeah, actually, I wanted to mention there was one skip that took you into out of the Winter's Drugstore, and you took like one look at 2 enemies that were there and immediately backed out. Do you remember that?
yes.
Eriphram taking a rough fight there, runs away, but his whole party is destroyed. Why do you remember what was your process on deciding to back out of that immediately?
Mainly because I wanted to make sure because I knew I was on the late floor. I didn't know if I was like exactly on floor 7 or 8, but I wanted to look around a little bit more just to make sure if I could find the specific items or whatever. Like maybe I can find a sea pendant or just something else that can help me. Maybe a bazooka, maybe a heavy bazooka, depending on the floor. And I saw those enemies, and I think at that point I was already on 7. So when I saw those enemies, it didn't feel much different. Um,
Mhm.
so taking that skip would have been like, okay, this feels like going backwards.
Yeah, I think the only thing that differentiated that floor from your previous one, I think you could see a floppy or something like that.
Yeah, and so like, and I know you mentioned, or you did the change as to where like, if you take a skip, the least amount it could be is 2 floors. The most amount could be 5 floors.
Mhm.
Um, I definitely know after seeing those enemies that was definitely not floor 9.
Right. Because one of the things we mentioned right when you did that is sort of quick decision making on, is this skip the right way to go, or should I back out of it? It can be the difference, can be tens or 20, 30 minutes difference in your final time. It can definitely win or lose a match. Eriphram taking a rough death here. Those very difficult enemies on the north on that hillside. On the plus side, he was trying to get backwards because he had found that that was the wrong way, so he doesn't need to go back out there.
Yeah, he's still pushing forward though, so good on him.
Yep, I think he now knows all other options have been exhausted, so he now knows that you have to go back through the Lost Underworld. And he's going to, in fact, just do a hard reset so his party is alive because he didn't find anything useful going all the way up to Lyra's house.
Yeah, I
Alright,
think there's nothing in that present by Lyra's house anyway.
That wasn't where the star pendant was, right? He already
no,
had that.
that was not the star pendant. I think that
No.
was a chef special.
So a wise hard reset there. It might
a
have even
duck
been
out
worth
now.
doing it. All right. Well, congratulations and
Yeah,
good luck in your
congrats,
next match.
Yeah,
Thank
I'll
you.
see you soon.
All right. So we know that Eriphram is heading the right way now.
Yes, he gets to make the journey through the Lost Underworld.
And we know that Gygas is not far away. Just needs to get on the other side of this, get through the Brick Roads maze. And
He just learned Size Shield Sigma, so he doesn't have to do the grind that Quad had to do just before Gygas. So looks like we'll probably be straight up going to Gygas as soon as we.
yeah, as long as he feels confident about it. He is a little better equipped than Quatropus was. He does have the Gaia Beam for Jeff, so that's the highest damage dealing weapon for Jeff. So it's slightly better equipped. No large difference in pendants or anything like. Well, the second does have the second Franklin badge, so that's actually a pretty significant difference.
He also does have a Night Pendant on Ness, which will at least protect him from that Psi flash attack that Gygas likes to use.
Going back, does he think he might have missed something? I guess he thinks he must have missed something back on the hill. Did he not check Pokey's house?
Yeah, I'm wondering that myself.
I guess he did not. These presents aren't open.
Oh, he forgot to. He reset before he had saved. Okay, he never
Gotcha.
got
Well, that was a good thing to realize then and not later.
Absolutely, that would have been terrible.
Imagine we'll see him save here again. So this can't happen again.
Yep, it looks like he's heading right back to the museum to save.
Looks like we're skipping the phone. Looks like we're just going to go. Confident we can make our way through the Lost Underworld.
I mean, he's right there, so.
I suppose there's also a phone in the Lost Underworld, so if you really want to save. And he will. So I believe all other routes have been explored, so he feels fairly confident that this is the correct direction.
Picks up a Moonbeam gun. I think he's already got a better gun run, Jeff, so.
Yep, the Gaia Beam is the best Jeff weapon, and he has that.
Oh, that's right. Now, occasionally, the teleport flag is on, which allows our runners to teleport. It's not advised that you do that, but in terms of the Lost Underworld, it can be useful for just navigating yourself around this nasty map. Neither of our players checked that out tonight. At least I didn't catch them trying to see if they had access to it, but it can come handy in a pinch.
Right, you have to be lucky that the teleport flags weren't turned off, and you also have to be lucky that you did something that triggered a flag that gives you a teleport location, because by default you don't have any, and a lot of them are given by special events that you won't encounter in Ancient Cave. So it's pretty unlikely that will ever work, but it's possible, and it could be worth trying out. It doesn't cost you a whole lot of time just to open your menu and give it a shot.
Yeah, I've only seen that flag be activated a handful of times in not only my own runs, but in runs I've watched online.
Right, the whole teleport situation is complicated on the code side, and it's not something I've bothered to do anything about. If I did anything about it, it would probably be just disabling teleport entirely during Ancient Cave. So rather than doing that, I'm just leaving it as it is, and if someone gets real feisty and they want to try it, good luck.
Yeah, by all means, go ahead and do it.
Use at your own risk. Red swirl on this dino, that's harsh. Red swirl fire beta. But it's just beyond this door. You're so close.
It's very fitting that Gygas comes after this maze. And that makes our run humane and valid.
Well, humane. We don't know about valid yet. You can always lose your validity.
What is defined as invalid? Because I get quite a few no problems here.
Double digit, no problem here is
Oh,
invalid.
boy. I've definitely seen that a few times.
Well, it's only invalid in my heart. It's not invalid as far as the actual tournament. It just makes me sad on a personal level.
And that's what I mean. We're here to please you, Chaz. We're not here to actually play a game or anything like that. Just for your play.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Some of these really difficult enemies right at the doorstep of Gygas. It's protoplasms and ducks.
Absolutely one of the more terrifying dungeons to run into just before you face Gygas.
He's really put his top men on the job of guarding his front door.
And really, being able to get through this dungeon so easily is really what separates top tier players from the weakling.
And there we go. Not going to take the diamonds. Going to try again. We know if he tries enough, he'll eventually get a caterpillar. Or nothing.
No caterpillar for Eriphram today.
Hopefully he'll be able to take down Gygas first time.
I spoke too soon, and he's going to skip it.
No interest.
He's going to let that caterpillar evolve into a nice, beautiful butterfly.
I'm not sure that's been coded into the game yet.
You got to get working on that. I suspect that Eriphram's Gygas fight is going to go relatively smoothly. He just has to be careful of that first turn because Paula's HP is low, and if Gygas fires off a rock and beta, that could be disastrous.
Yeah, they're first phase Gygas can still get you a rock and beta and a lack of and the paralyzed not working, and you can be in a world of hurt, and there's nothing you can do to control either of those.
Yeah, does Pokey always 100% of the time use the offense down move?
Yeah, he's scripted. He goes back and forth between offense down and charging at you. Or tearing into you, rather. It's an alpha. No one takes a death. Multi-bottle rocket hit for 16, so yeah, that's something. Paralysis did not work, so someone is going to be in danger this turn.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Did paralysis hit?
It did not. And it's Jeff. Bye, Jeff.
Well, if you're gonna have one of your kids die, it's best that it's Jeff, I think.
Yeah, that's the one. The second paralysis missed as well. Now he's deciding if we're going to keep. Oh no, it did. It did
Nope,
hit.
it's
Never
on
mind.
there. He got paralyzed, so he's good. He just has to keep the shield up and knock Pokey out of the.
Yeah, the early 616 from the multi-bottle rocket, and lots of psychic points for Pooh. So freeze gamma is fine and safe to use. This phase 1 shouldn't take long. Then again, Paula will be nice and safe for phases 2 and 3. They may take a while, they may not, but we should get through them. Again, unless one of the extremely unfortunate situations happens like we talked about with Quatropus. But
Yeah, the only unfortunate thing going on here is phase 1 is going to be slow because Ness has no real way of doing damage because it looks like his offense is pretty low. But as soon as I say that, phase 1 is over. So there.
and he has Starstorm to unleash with Pooh now. So ideally, phase 2 won't take very long either. No reason to hold back. Double reflect on the lightning. There you go. Guy gets helping out, getting this done.
Yeah, Gygus wants this battle to be over as well.
He's ready for bed. Get the stream over with. Third reflect.
But in all seriousness, I have to applaud Eriphram for not immediately forfeiting. He was close enough to the end of the game that it merited a complete finish. So good on.
Glad to stick around and watch him finish it out.
And it looks like he's going to end, if this goes well as I think it's going to go, he should end with about a 135, 136, which again is an excellent time. Most people who begin this game, I know when I began playing Ancient Cave, it probably got like a time of 340 or something like that in my first run.
And again, like we talked about on the first stream, if you want to play this casually, if you're not a speedrunner, if it takes you 10 hours to do this, that's fine. You're only racing against people if you want to race against people. This game is perfectly fine to play casually and take as long as you want with it.
Absolutely, and going floor to floor in this game, the game is very easily playable. You just kind of have to have a little background on Earthbound itself in order to really maximize your fun with it, but it plays very well, it's structured very well. I can't recommend it enough as just a way to kind of pass it.
We are on to phase 3, and we have enough HP. I say Quatropus was maybe in the danger range with 70 HP. 145, we're perfectly fine.
Yeah, this should be good.
This would have to be lottery ticket levels of bad luck.
And again, he has 2 Franklin badges, so he's also, I believe, has a protected net.
Well, Ness could still take a freeze. And
well,
done.
yeah, but from Thunder and Flash, he's fine. And then he died.
It's fine, just faster menuing.
Yes, one of the benefits to having dead kids is that the menuing goes a lot smoother in this.
just a few more prayers to get through, and our fourth Gygus for the night will be down.
Our ludicrous tech speeding through the Checkaroonie line.
Shakaroony, is that you?
You know, it's only been 20 years since this game came out, but I still use that line every now and then.
2 prayers left when Gygus changes color.
And that'll be it. So, Eriphram coming in with a 134.57, taking, second place tonight, but that's okay. That he is not out of this tournament yet. I believe he is facing. Is it Nerm? No, it would be Jonte or John in the next Thomas round.
Yep. Thomas versus Eriphram will be coming up as soon as they can get scheduled. Meanwhile, it will be Quatropus versus Stupid Sexy Flanders.
That's me.
And then we should see Ari versus Classic James. I think had they scheduled a time yet?
I don't think they have as of yet.
Okay.
I think they talk about a time, but nothing's been made official.
All right, so we don't have anything else scheduled as of this second, but we have a number of matches that we'll probably get through in the next week. Only a 9-person tournament, so there aren't that many matches total. We have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or 15 more matches in this tournament, so it'll be gone before you know it. So be sure to keep your notifications on for Earthbound Super Series. Stick around just long enough to see Eriphram's humanity and validity stats. Assuming he keeps the stream up that long.
Yes, can't forget the humanity and the no problem here.
But a good night of racing.
Absolutely, both matches were very good, very great players playing this game, very excellent players. Last race we had a very tight, went to the very end of the game type of race between Andy Perfect and Daniel, which was very exciting to watch. This one as well, it was just a matter of a bad wipe for Quatropus. Could have really put Ephraim in a place where he could have easily caught up. Just sometimes it's a matter of that in a randomizer.
Yep, you never know when your opponent is going to be taking on a risky Gygus fight, and they could instantly wipe and lose, half an hour of progress or more. So even if it feels like you're behind, you want to keep at it because you're not out until it's over. Eriphram, how's it going?
Hey, Ari.
Just checking the end of your statistics here. 1 chicken freed, and 8 no problem here. So we're humane and just barely valid. Good work.
Cutting it close there.
Well, I did want to throw the chicken at Gygus, but I got tired of that. Needed the space.
It's always a good job for Jeff to throw the chicken at Gygus, I find.
So it seemed like you had a lot of trouble finding any good skips to take, and you ended up full clearing the dungeon all the way up to floor 7.
Yeah, there was the one skip that I wanted to take back at the Tucson backstage pass one with the reverse where you can't go back through, which obviously led to floor 9 as I discovered half hour later.
Right.
But I couldn't find any save points, so I'm like, it's a little risky being this far ahead to drop back down to, say, floor 2 or something accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at that point you have to make a decision between either taking the risk and just going through it, using your exit mouse in a bad spot, and if there's no save point around, it's kind of really are kind of rolling the dice there. So I don't blame you for not taking.
Yeah, Quattro found a ruler skip from, I think it was floor 3 to 7. if I remember
Wow.
correctly.
It was like 3 to 7, 3 to 6, something like that. Yeah.
And so then he was on 7 for a bit and got some levels, and then took the same skip that you ended up taking, the ruby skip, from 7 to 9. So you both managed to dodge the dog.
I'm just happy that I dodged the dog. That's all. I was not ready for it this time around.
Oh, he's a scary dog.
He's one I do not want to pet.
But
Yeah.
the
Go ahead.
Shield Sigma came pretty late this seed, so Quattro actually he found Gygas and he had to do some grinding to get Shield Sigma. So his grinding strategy wasn't optimal. So we were wondering if that was going to give you enough time to catch up, but you were getting stuck in Threed and not finding a way forward very quickly, if I recall.
Yeah, I was kind of curious if that Chronal Caterpillar there would have had some, but I know with the XP being randomized, that's just a coin flip too.
Well, he did find a caterpillar and fought it and got some XP off it, but he didn't grind on the caterpillars. He went back and ground on some enemies in the brick road maze, and it was not a fast process, but he did eventually get there.
And Caterpillar gave something like 29,000 experience, 30,000, something like that. It was pretty decent.
So you'll be fighting Thomas next in our first match of the losers bracket.
Woohoo!
It'll be an interesting race. I think, given your performance in this seed, he might challenge you to a no skips. Just be aware of that.
As long as Carbon Dog's not in there, then I'm fine with a no skips race.
26% chance.
I don't know. This tournament, it seems like a 70% chance for this tourney at this rate.
I can just tell you the numbers, man. It's 26. Can't blame me for other people's rolls.
Chad's gonna roll.
It's random. Who knows what you're gonna get?
He's gonna roll a special seed with statues and dogs.
All right. Well, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to add before we close it out?
I'm good. Thank you guys for running tonight. It was a great race all around. You guys did a phenomenal job. Other than that, thank you guys for having me on commentary. This was fun. I appreciate it.
The only thing I gotta add is I just appreciate everything you guys are doing. Appreciate doing the commentary. I'm sure it was really good, and as long as there wasn't too much trash talk, I won't take that back when I rewatch it later on. And thanks to everyone who's supporting the tourney and who jumped in. It's really great to see everyone participating and having a great time.
Yeah, I just called you Quattro before correcting myself about 24 times, but other than that was about it.
Okay, that's it. I take it back.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and tune in later this week. We'll have some more matches in the Earthbound Super Series Ancient Cave Tournament.
Have a good night, everybody.